What's up, Big 12 Nation? It is Tuesday night in America. That can mean only one thing. It's time for another edition of your favorite YouTube-centric Big 12 college football show. That's right. It's the one. It's the only. It is the biggest 12 with me, your host, Clint Foster. Wherever you are, thanks so much for making us a part of your Tuesday night. And if you were here last night, welcome back. Right? I'm in the Christmas spirit, right? I'm giving you so much content, so much Clinton Brownie time just to soak up like gravy in toast, okay? We ranted all about bowl quitters and the bowl situation yesterday, as well as the state of Iowa State athletics. If you're interested in checking that out, you absolutely should. The link is in the chat. It's also on the channel, which, by the way, hey, you should subscribe to the channel. Why haven't you yet, you degenerate, you troglodyte? There it is, running across the bottom of the screen at Big 12 VOCFB. Come on, people. We are how many? Y'all unsubscribed. We're 13 subscribers away from 1,000. And apparently y'all aren't making it any easier. So let's please subscribe to the show. I mean, I do extra shows for y'all and y'all go away. Okay. Whatever. But yeah, subscribe to the show. Check that out. And subscribe to my personal YouTube channel at Clint Foster Creations. Where I have 2 scripts written for sketches. We'll see if I have time to shoot them. Hopefully. One that's all about BYU and a situation that we will talk about, them getting hosed by the college football committee. But we will do that after the rest of this podcast business. Follow me on Twitter at Clint_Foster55. Check out the Voice of College Football, all the places to get your social media. Check us out where you get your podcasts. Amazon, Apple, Spotify, we're there. Check us out. Give us a sub. Give us a 5-star review. It's not your first day on the internet. Do all those things. And go check out VOCFB.com and the Voice of College Football shop with its oh-so-beautiful merchandise, which, hey, maybe some of that needs to end up under your tree or menorah, I guess, or under your Kwanzaa candles. I did put a Voice of College Football hat there on the feast table. Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so anyway, let's get started. There's so much to cover and oh so little time to do it. So I will welcome in all of my beautiful guests. You know them, you love them. Here they are. We got Brownie, we got Bomber, and we got Chris from Flatland Sports. Gentlemen, how are we doing on this beautiful Tuesday night?
Okay.
I'm doing great.
A resounding okay from everyone who's not.
Your music reminds me of joining a cooking show, or maybe a self-help.
The Create channel on PBS.
Yeah, something like that. You're tuning in. Hey, let's paint some nice backgrounds.
He knows his audience because probably half of us are in the self-help train.
Okay, well there you go then. It fits.
Yeah. So much to talk about. And I think we should start with the most breaking of all of the news, and that is everyone's favorite Big 12 team, the Utah Utes, are in the process of signing a deal with a private equity firm that is estimated to be worth $500 million. And everyone at Utah seems to be very excited about this. I think this excitement is extremely misplaced. I think this could only be a horrible thing. We're not talking about, just one or a few Cody Campbell boosters excited to help the program succeed. This is a private equity firm. This is a whole different shebang, and a part of Wall Street that is interested in one thing, that is making money, gentlemen. That is not in what is good for college football. What is y'all's take on this whole Utah situation, and should we be terrified for the future of college football?
So
we should always be terrified.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because, as somebody who's dealt with private equity firms in the past, it's a messy business, right? And when you look at the dollar amount, it's $5 million in assets. It's not
500 million, yes.
500 million. It's not in cash. It's not a cash input. It is assets and other items. It is nothing specifically about putting $500 million into the athletic department piggy bank to spend however they want. And spoiler alert for people that don't know about private equity, but private equity basically goes in, they buy off all of your items, they buy out all of your debt, and then bit by bit, they sell those assets to create profit. Most private equity firms are not in the long haul business. It's literally a 3 to 5 year turnaround. They make their profit and they sell everything at pieces. They cut corners. They get rid of important labor. They literally make it to where what might be a breaking even business or a slightly successful business, and they just plow it into the ground. Like there won't be anything left. So I'm interested to see how this works, because I don't know if like sports private equity is any different than standard corporation private equity. Because like there's some like tech private equity firms that don't necessarily work like that, and it's mostly buying the product and then enhancing the product and then trying to sell it around in 2 to 3 years to another private equity firm, and they just kind of keep kicking the can down the road. But I would be pissed. Like, I'm already pissed about our situation, and if Jamie Pollard told me today that he was signing any sort of money with a private equity firm, I'm out. Like, I would genuinely be done. I would be done with college sports. See ya.
On the Texas Tech side, I'm just going to cue the meme. What are you wearing? You look poor. Having to get into private equity to generate income. Now, I will say I did not, because I saw the news break like earlier this afternoon. This is the first time I've really had a chance to kind of look through and read the article. So I don't know. I my day job is real estate, so I know a little bit of that world, and I know it's horrible. But I don't know enough of it to know exactly why it's horrible. I could actually see this, though, being a positive for Utah if they do the right things. And by right things, I mean don't use private equity to try to fund your NIL. Instead, use it to put into facilities and things that help the fan experience, and AKA things that could actually turn around and make a profit later. You know, for the Iowa State land that Jamie Pollard's trying to build, but, you know, for Utah. And you may actually get something positive out of it in that way, because when private equity goes into that sector, it's all about making profit. And if they're building something that's intended to make profit, then it may not fall apart. Now, we're talking about the University of Utah. We're talking about college athletics. We're talking about university professors and athletic directors. There's a good chance that all of this is going into something. He said assets, so it's not just cash. So you can't necessarily just influx, you know, this into a cash pot for NIL, but it's probably going in that direction. And if it's something that isn't going to generate real profit for you in the form of actual like paying customers going to visit the Arby's that's outside the stadium, then it's going to just completely fall apart and explode.
Yeah, I mean, my whole thought process is just from a fan perspective. I mean, as a TCU fan, I've already seen the price of tickets raise incrementally, so much so that a lot of people canceled their season tickets. The cost of food, beer, whatever else, right? You know, it's all more expensive. And this is just the cost of doing business. This is just the cost of winning 8 games, you know, to do all of this. And I mean, when a private equity firm is all of a sudden, you know, essentially acting as another owner of the athletic department, I mean, how is this ever going to not make things insanely more expensive and more difficult to? I mean, college football used to be something that families were a part of, right? Like you grow up going to and supporting your college football team. I don't know. It's the NFLification, if you will, of college athletics. And Bomber, I got to hear your take on all this as, you know, a noted noted Utah non-enjoyer, right? What is your take on all of this?
Well, I would say this first. Being a taxpayer in the state of Utah, my only concern is whether the regular normal taxpayers have to backstop this if it's not successful, right? If it's something that's a benefit, and Chris, it's nice to meet you. I don't think we've met before, but
yeah, nice to meet you.
What Chris said is exactly right. As long as it doesn't hurt me, go for it, right? If it's something that you want for your fans and everything, all fine and good. There are a couple unique things. This isn't just standard private equity. They're going to do what was proposed for the Big Ten. They're going to spin off a business entity for the university that is only going to handle this money that it will be coming in as an investment. That's one thing. Another thing is they're going to pay NIL, third-party NIL commercial liabilities out of this entity to what extent, I don't know how much that's going to be or what the amount is going to be, but it basically will turn booster investments into something that is now more of a business interest, like it's an investment. So, Clint, you want to give $1 million from all your YouTube money. You want to give $1 million to TCU, but you're not sure. Do you give it as an individual lump sum? Do you pay it into a business entity and then do it payments over a long period of time? Are you going to give it to one player? Right? There's lots of different ways you can give money. Or like Brownie said, do you give the money and then you expect that it's just going to be titrated out by the business interests within the school? The answer to all those things may be yes, but at the end of the day, where is the money going to go and how's it going to be used? And if I'm an NIL or if I'm a booster for a conference or a school and I want to give money to my university, but I want it to last longer, I could conceivably say, okay, I'll pay money into this investment entity, and then you guys will turn around and I will get a return off that money. It might be 1%, it might be 2%, but it's an investment. It's like paying into a mutual fund or anything like this. They pay out their dividends to the university for paying whatever money, however they're using it, and I get a return, a very, very small net return. So, and this is going to get scary because there's a few things we're not sure about. Like, what's the tax liability? Do you give it as a non-taxable donation, or are you paying it pre-tax and the university has to pay the tax out of it? Does this change what your university's tax status is overall? There's already one legislator at Washington, D.C., believes he's from Washington State, that is saying, hey, we need any schools that do something like Utah's proposing doing, we'll pull away their tax-free status.
Sure.
They're no longer tax exempt. So
Yeah.
there are things, the overriding, and this is what everybody just needs to keep in mind. This comes on the heels of a ginormous commitment from boosters and everybody else at BYU that is making Utah look very, very small. And if you think this, they might have been working on this for years and years, but to pull a trigger on something like this, I don't think happens if BYU isn't kind of pulling away. And BYU and Texas Tech are doing that. And so Utah doesn't want to be left behind. So in there, if I was a Utah fan, I'd kind of say, damn the torpedoes. I'm going to go in and take the risk, knowing that I want my school to be competitive in the long term.
Well, yeah, I mean, and it is, me and Brownie were talking about this yesterday, how it is so easy in this current environment of college football to feel like you're falling behind. I mean, Sonny Dykes, I don't know how much to read into this today, but he used the word fundraising today in talking about, well, we're trying to fundraise to keep Josh Hoover here for next year. Right? Like, okay, do you mean you're literally trying to raise more? Like, we don't have the dollars right now to pay him what probably Texas Tech is offering him, or is it we're just trying to restructure his NIL, though? What does that mean, right? And there are so many teams like Colorado, right, operating at a deficit. I'm pretty sure
they're
Ohio
in trouble.
State is operating at a deficit.
Yeah.
Massive debt because of the payroll that they have to meet. And so, you know, maybe that also played into this as well. Well, maybe we want to sign with this private equity deal to help, you know, backfill all of this money that we have just flying out the door just to run our athletic programs. There's so much to dislike about the state of college athletics right now. If I'm just being completely honest, and you know, on one hand, it's like, hey, good for Texas Tech. They're just doing legally what every SEC school's been doing for 30 years. You know, it's like Coach O said on the clip, Brownie, that you sent me. Like, well, used to I walk through the back door with the cash. Now I walk through the front door with the cash. Right. But it's just there's so much that's so troubling, and I can't imagine that this will do anything but go bad and set a bad precedent, just like Notre Dame bitching out of their bowl game, right? That's just setting a bad precedent for everything that's going to come next. Brownie, you got anything else to say about it?
No. I think it's going to be interesting because if they come off as the winner of this in like a decade, we're all going to be like, damn, wish we would have thought about this.
Sure.
But if they crash and burn, like, who knows what damage is going to be caused, right? Like, that's the thing. Like, we don't know how successful it's going to be, and we also don't know the fallout. So, again, I'm kind of glad that Jamie Pollard isn't the one saying that we're signing a private equity deal because I would hands up be done.
Yeah.
And if you're a fan of just classic college football, you kind of have to root for this to completely blow up in Utah's face and Utah become the sacrificial lamb. Not really
Well, I would
sacrifice, you
do that
killed
anyway.
yourself, but you need Utah in this scenario to be a warning to everyone else to not do this. If you're a fan of things kind of staying and continuing to look like what we love about college football. Because if this blows up for Utah in 10 years, in a good way for Utah in 10 years, then everybody else is going to start doing it. And we've already got conferences trying to do it. But Brett Yormark has been pushing this for years. That's why I think him and Cody Campbell are kind of button heads right now. But I mean, there's no win for anyone here. If it's successful, it's going to be bad. And if it's bad, it's going to be bad.
Yeah. Well, and to your point, Bomber, like about how maybe this makes it more intriguing to invest your money in an athletic department. I mean, I just feel like I want to say this. It's hard to put myself in the mindset of a multimillionaire, admittedly.
Right.
But like, I do not understand. I mean, Troy Aikman was talking about this today, right? How he gave a whole bunch of money. He signed a big check for UCLA NIL, and the kid leaves the very next year. I mean, talk about not getting a return on your investment. Just dumping stupid money into these 18-year-olds who are going to be like, thanks, peace, don't give a shit, right? You know, and like, it's like Dominic Williams at TCU, I know was our highest paid NIL kid for his first 2 years here. And then I'm going to Oklahoma. Like, you just lost all that money. You know, it didn't yield anything.
Well, wait a second, though. Hold on. I think, Clint, that's not right. It's not. Okay. You're not buying an IBM stock. You're giving money for a kid to play a sport for 1 year. Anybody who's looking at these athletes as investment entities that in 2 or 3 years are going to get some sort of payback, in my opinion, that is not how you look at NIL.
Well,
NIL,
but that's how boosters are looking at it. I mean, if you're given money, I mean, you see, go on Facebook for like 5 minutes to a losing team's Facebook page, and you'll see like 50 people talking about, well, I'm not giving a cent more to season tickets this year.
Then they're not setting proper expectations.
No, they're idiots. But there's a lot of them.
And I'm not saying there
are. What idiots. I'm saying is, quit talking about our message boards.
It's up to the administrations to set proper expectations. The administration should be saying, if you give us any amount of money, especially if you want to direct it at a position or a player, that's a 1-year rental. There are no long-term commitments for these players. Every year is free agency, and that's on the communication of the booster. And that has to do with how the school is laying the groundwork. But anybody who's looking at these kids any more than a 1-year lease is not doing it the right way. And I think if you're given $1 million, you should know. You should be a smart enough person. If you can donate $1 million, you know how the business works. You need to understand that this is not something you're going to get a 3-year rate of return on.
Well, and I think what I'm trying to say, Bomber, is from my perspective, I can't imagine giving money for that purpose for a 1-year player, you know?
Yeah, I got you.
I mean, good on the people who can, but it's just it's just so absurd to me.
Yeah,
it's just crazy.
It is silly. It's college football. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And then the biggest wild card in the whole thing, like when you're like in the NFL, the owners of the NFL are at least somewhat invested in their NFL teams being successful. Sure. In college, we're dealing with university presidents and chancellors, and as a Texas Tech fan, we could not be luckier that we've got a guy who is absolutely invested in college athletics. You go to many other programs though, and the university president couldn't care less about athletics, sees it as a burden on the academic side of the institution.
Yes.
So you've got people who are either completely ignorant to how athletics is supposed to work, or they're actively rooting for its demise. In some cases, what I think is going on at Colorado right now. Yeah. And you're throwing billions and billions of dollars into that fire with people who have no clue how to handle it.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, on to other things that make us upset. Both BYU and Jacob Rodriguez have been hosed since our last show. Neither of these are particularly surprising.
No.
But I think it's worth talking about. BYU passed over for the playoff. I will say, though, at least they're playing in the greatest bowl game of all time, the Pop-Tart Bowl. Sure. And Jacob Rodriguez absolutely should be sitting in New York for the Heisman ceremony. Instead, we're trying to pat Notre Dame on the back and make them feel better about themselves, inviting Jeremiah Love. Bomber, will go to you first. Go ahead and air it out. Why was BYU so wronged by the committee?
Well, it was set up 3 weeks ago, so it was just Saturday was or Sunday was just the finishing act in a 5-act play. We all knew it was going to be that way from the previous week. There was the slight chance they could make it to 10. If they'd made it to 10, they probably are still in the thing, and that never happened. ESPN for the entire 5 weeks didn't talk about BYU at all.
Didn't even talk about it.
They put up graphics. They put the disrespect and everything else is just over the top. And all I would say is, at this point, I think everybody is sort of tired with the narrative. I don't really want to beat the BYU thing too much. What I would rather have everybody pay attention to is the lack of attention to detail and participation we got from Brett Yormark, who was disappeared for 4.5 weeks, showed up at the last weekend of the last week, and really hadn't done anything, and still continues to not do much to promote BYU in the national consciousness. In fact, there's a quote just came out in the last little bit. He did an interview that said he thinks the committee got it about right. And I guarantee you, Greg Sankey last year, the minute that Ole Miss, South Carolina, and Alabama were left out, he spent the next year doing nothing but standing at a podium, pounding it, screaming, this will not happen. We will not lay down for this ever again. And the fact that Brett Yormark's not doing that and his behavior in the run-up to this whole thing, I am extremely disappointed with what he's doing. I don't understand why he isn't more out front committing to support not only BYU, but even Utah in the early weeks. Didn't say anything. He had completely disappeared. He came out for a basketball event like 10 days to 2 weeks ago and said, oh yeah, by the way, it's, we're happy with where we're at. And the last thing I'll leave you with is the statement that he did in the offseason, which is we want to earn it on the field. Well, 11-1, and your only 2 losses are to the number 4 team in the country who doesn't have but 1 loss, and that was with their quarterback being out. Might win the whole thing, and yet they're the ones that get left out at 11-1. Is honestly, it's just criminal. And I don't, there's really no other way to look at it. All I can hope for is that a lot more people's eyes have been opened, and that BYU isn't somebody that's just going to come and disappear. We're here to stay, and we're going to be around. And I just would ask everybody to, instead of letting it die again like it did after last fall when they were left out at 10-2, let's keep the energy up. Let's do it through the whole offseason after Texas Tech wins the whole thing. And let's go and sell this deal that is this conference. And if they don't do that, if they don't get proactive and start doing those things, I'm already on record saying I think BYU needs to go mercenary. They need to do everything for themselves, for their own reasons, support the conference where it's possible. But at the end of the day, the conference is not going to protect them. So there's no reason for them to protect the conference. That's kind of where my opinion is right now.
Speaking as a Texas
2011
Tech fan,
all over again.
Yeah, and a TCU first time.
I was going to say first time here.
Yeah. Welcome to the Big 12.
Yeah.
Welcome to
where
the Big
the
8.
game is made up and the rules don't matter.
Yeah. Well, Chris, from your perspective, I mean, it had to be cathartic finally watching Tech get over that conference championship hump. But I mean, was there any part of you as the wheels were just completely falling off in the second half that's like, shoot, like BYU's definitely not getting in now? I mean, what was your thought process?
No, I mean, BYU's fate was sealed. First of all, I'm going to start by saying it was absolutely ridiculous. BYU should be sitting at number 6, number 7, maybe number 8 after that loss in the country right now, and they've just been hosed all season by the College Football Playoff Committee, by ESPN, who's pushing this weird ass propaganda, against BYU. And it's a Big 12 thing. I'm used to it being a Big 12 thing. I've heard from some other BYU people that I've talked to that there might be a BYU thing too that I don't fully understand.
But those Mormon wives, Bomber. The lives, the Mormon wives. They're giving.
What's that guy's name? Cody. He ruined it for everyone.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, BYU got completely hosed. That said, I mean, being in a conference and being in a position such as being a Texas Tech fan, an Iowa State fan, a TCU fan, you know what the rules are, and you know that it's going to be a lot harder for you than it is for Mississippi State, Alabama, anybody. I mean, even if you're in the Big Ten, the slander that was thrown towards Indiana last season
Yeah.
was incredible from ESPN, and that's a Big Ten team. So BYU knew what they had to do given the circumstances to get in, and they weren't able to do that. They knew they had to win to get into the college football playoff in the Big 12 championship, and they couldn't do that. And it really, I hate, but I don't hate that it came at the hands of Texas Tech, because I'm just on cloud nine over here.
Sure.
But it really hurt BYU, in my opinion, that their only two appearances really on the national level were the game against Texas Tech earlier in the season and then this Big 12 game. And BYU did not play near to the level and did not look near at the level that they actually are as a team. And I credit Texas Tech more than anything for that. I don't think BYU has a legit defense. And Bear Bachmeier, like, watch out over the next 2 to 3 years with Bear Bachmeier if he stays at BYU. And
He's
I think he will.
His injury made a huge difference.
Yeah.
His
Yeah.
injury changed the game, unfortunately. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so it's a crummy thing that this was happening to BYU. But again, this is what life in the Big 12 and life not being Texas, Oklahoma, Alabama, LSU, whatever you want to call it is. It's just going to be harder for you to get in. And Texas Tech, by virtue of blowing out BYU in the regular season the way they did, punch through that a little bit to where the national propaganda machine couldn't push them down because too many eyeballs had seen it for real. BYU unfortunately did not have that luxury because they got beat the way they did in Lubbock and then again in Arlington.
Maybe if we put the frickin' Utah game in rivalry week, like we weren't idiots, maybe more people would have seen that.
Yeah.
Rivalry week.
And-
What's that?
Yeah.
Have you seen quotes? He's not going to change that anytime soon either. He
And I get both sides.
Again, welcome to the Big 12.
You know, you don't necessarily want the Big 12's biggest games to be going up against Ohio State, Michigan, and Alabama, Auburn. But at the same time, that game absolutely deserves to be in rivalry week. And I think on its own, especially the way this season had played out with both of them. Like, I mean, they could have gone into that final week of the Big 12 season playing to get into the Big 12 championship.
Yeah.
Yep.
And, you know, Brett
the-
Yormark is he's
playing the day before Thanksgiving would fix all that.
Yeah.
There are no games the day before Thanksgiving.
Oh gosh, yeah. That Wednesday.
That Wednesday would be huge. I don't know why they haven't done it. I still can't figure it out.
I don't think I'd be able to eat as much turkey if I had a
I
football
would.
game on Wednesday night.
On
Oh
Wednesday?
my God.
On Wednesday? Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
not.
Wednesday night, you just have a bender, then you're just like hung over and wanting to drink a bunch of water instead of like mowing down a turkey leg.
Again, I just point back to Yormark. I think, you know, we were excited when we came into the conference, and you guys having already been here, Brett Yormark came in with energy. He brought in 4 schools from the Pac-12. Everybody was on cloud 9. Then he did that early run to become a basketball conference, right? Let's get Gonzaga. Let's get UConn. Let's pile all these schools in. And everybody fought that off. They're like, no, we want to be a football conference. Well, since then, he has bent over for ESPN, and I can't think of much that he's done for us. So if Texas Tech hadn't been so dominant all year long, he wasn't even really doing much for Texas Tech either. It's like he's disappeared for almost 12 months. And so I think we have bigger questions from a fandom perspective around actually where are we going to be? Because right now it appears to me that Yormark is absolutely a sock puppet for Greg Sankey. And I cannot think him doing anything to advance the conference any more than he already has.
Well, and I think, first of all, credit where credit is due, because the Big 12 was dying when Yormark came in, and he completely turned the ship around. And the business decisions that he's made for the conference have been fantastic. I mean, the TNT deal this last year, TNT was phenomenal, and TNT is absolutely going to be, if not the primary media partner for the Big 12 after this deal with ESPN expires. Then they're going to be a major player.
Yeah, hopefully.
But there's definitely a side. I mean, he took our tortillas away, man. I mean, well, there's a side where he maybe just doesn't quite get college football and college athletics and college fan bases. He's a little, and I think a lot of what he's doing and why he didn't maybe get up on a soapbox and kick up for BYU and Texas Tech. First of all, like I said, I kind of think there's sort of a back and forth going on between him and Cody Campbell on the backside. But I think there's a lot of trying to just maintain a semi-good relationship with the Big Ten and the SEC so they don't absolutely destroy us when it comes to the college football playoff format in the future. And so he's playing it a lot safer than I would have liked. I would have really appreciated him kicking up for the conference. On the other hand, too, this thing is very fragile, and this thing could all be destroyed by the snap of Greg Sankey's fingers if he wanted to. And so I think there's a part of that comes into play. And like I said, I'm not going to completely defend him because I don't agree with all of the moves he made. But it's a balancing act, and sometimes you stumble.
I think the primary thing, especially from Brett Yormark's standpoint, is he came from the basketball world.
Yeah.
He knows far more people in basketball. He knows far more agents in basketball. He knows a lot more about basketball as a whole than he does really football. And I think we kind of knew that coming in, especially with all the deals that he was making for the basketball tournaments, the broadcasting for basketball. And I think that just kind of pulled us in with some of the football, switching to TNT. I think the TNT move is a pinnacle move to now get us switched over to TNT and possibly CBS for all Big 12 basketball moving forward. So at least from that standpoint, I'm not happy with what he's been doing for football, and as abysmal as it looks, I think it's going to get better. But I mean, we just got to call the playoffs what it is, and it's basically an SEC pageantry show.
Yeah,
that's all it is. It doesn't matter. Alabama could have 4 freaking losses, and they're still going to be a border team, right?
Yeah.
They're gonna pick whoever the top 5 teams in the SEC, and they're gonna try to blur the rest of us out, right? But when you really look at some of these games going in, remember Florida State? Oh, it's not the same team without their quarterback, so we can't put them in. But Ole Miss doesn't have their coach. Tulane doesn't have their coach.
I think Summerall is coaching, though. I think he is.
Oh, is Summerall actually going to be coaching?
Yeah, he's staying through to the end of the year.
Yeah. Tweet where he was had a half Florida, half Tulane. He said 2 teams, 2 hours of sleep or something like that.
Oh my God! Just pick one or the other at this point. But okay, Ole Miss is without the coach. That Oregon is absolutely going to boat race James Madison.
Unfortunately, yeah.
I hate it. It's literally the brand, right? It's not about what you put on the field or how you put it on the field anymore. It's literally about the biggest brand.
Was it ever?
Give you the biggest money. No, it never was.
No.
I've been
when they put in Ohio State over TCU in 2014, it wasn't about the product on the field.
Yeah.
Well, heck, go back to the 1932 season and compare the AP poll to the actual conference standings, and you've got a 9-win Tennessee team above an undefeated Tulane.
Yeah.
In the AP poll. I mean, it's always been a beauty pageant.
And that's kind of what is irritating, right? Because the BCS, yes, that one was also broken. But at least the computers, you knew your metrics, right?
Yeah, you knew what you were trying to do. Yeah.
Yeah. So, why are we not at least using part of the BCS to make these educated decisions instead of the eye test, and we now have human error, right?
Yeah.
Because obviously BYU is a lot better than probably half of the teams that are in this playoff, right? And they're getting snubbed because their 2 losses are to a Texas Tech team that is arguably going to be playing in the semifinals and potentially the finals. In Alabama, they went 1-1 against the opponents in the SEC championship. Well, if they would have made it, they probably would have been 0-2. So what's the point?
Yeah.
It's
SOR,
garbage.
Absolutely worse.
No,
Ranked win, also worse. Biggest non-con loss, also way worse. Because guess what? BYU didn't lose non-con.
Yeah. If I was to tell 20-year-old Clint in 2010, fresh off of a Rose Bowl, a TCU Rose Bowl, that in the future we would have a playoff and I would be pining and begging for the BCS rankings to come back, I would have slapped myself in the face. But that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. Okay, so we got to talk about these bowl games because we are bowl enjoyers here at the Biggest 12, unlike so many of the infidels out in the media sphere. And I want to talk about, before he has to leave us, I want to talk about the greatest bowl game in the history of bowl games, the Pop-Tart Bowl, which BYU is facing off against Georgia Tech because Notre Dame is too chicken shit to play them. Okay, BYU is a 3.5-point favorite against Georgia Tech. I think BYU is absolutely going to wreck shop on those Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Bomber, what's your take on the game, and are you going to make it down to Orlando?
No, I'm not going to make it down there for the bowl game. I think bowl games are largely superfluous, so I'm not necessarily on your side.
You're part of the problem, Bomber.
I am. You know what?
A freaking toaster.
Yes.
No, what I'm saying is, if you're going to pay the players all the money and you give the school an appearance fee, I'm okay with it. But if the players aren't getting like an additional NIL bump or something like that to attend, the risk outweighs the reward. Why would you? Except if you want a trip to Orlando and go to Disney World, I guess. But anyways, whatever. Let's get off of that. As far as I'm concerned, BYU shows up for these things. Kalani loves to play in bowl games. It'll depend on, I don't know if we'll have a quarterback, right? If we have our backup quarterback, because, Bear's ankle is still, and he's evidently been in a boot and on crutches. I don't know. It'll just depend how he feels, I guess. But if it was up to me, I want this team back together next year. I don't need them out there doing something stupid and getting hurt. So I think BYU wins. I think they're a better team than Georgia Tech. But I'm kind of like Notre Dame in this regard. Why show up for a bowl game if you're not in the whole thing? I think the college football playoff is where it's at, and we just need to add more games to the college football playoff.
Man, I could not agree with you less.
Okay, that's cool.
You thought he was going to stand up and talk about how BYU was just going to wreck the Ramblin' Wreck from Georgia Tech and make a statement and show why they deserve to be there, and he's just like, I don't even want to be there.
I don't want the greatest toaster ever of all time.
I don't want to see a Pop-Tart descend into a giant toaster and enter college football.
I mean, what is your motivation? Instead of talking about the different bowl games, tell me why show up with your team when you're losing people opting out to go to the NFL, people opting out so that they can do the transfer portal. You show up with a team that's maybe 45 or 50 deep, and those kids will be playing more snaps, and there's potential for them to get hurt. You lose people in these games. I don't know why you would do that for your team the next year.
Well, the why is,
if we're worried about getting hurt, why do we play any of the games?
Yeah, exactly. The why is
to get into the playoff. That's why you play all the other games.
Playoffs.
Well, 15 extra practices to get your young guys ready for next season. The guys who are still committed. That's
my
one.
My opinion on the practices, and that is the only reason I will say, Chris, that's the only reason I would say do it. I think everybody should get those practices, whether you go to a bowl game or not. I don't think it's fair that if you're 4 and 7, you don't get those extra practices because you didn't win 2 more games. That's stupid. Okay, there's so many things wrong with college football. Everybody should be able to do those practices, and whether you show up to a bowl game or not should not be fined. I think those things are just ridiculous.
The other side of it too is BYU and the PR campaign that comes from going and just slapping Georgia Tech around. You're sitting at number 12 right now. You go and just bulldoze Georgia Tech and into the ground the way Texas Tech did.
We bulldozed Colorado and ended up 29th in the rankings to start because we lost a key player. It didn't help us last season. Why would it help us this season?
Well, because I'm assuming Bear Bachmeier isn't going to commit some nefarious activities and transfer over to Tulane over the offseason. Because if Jake Retzlaff had stayed, BYU was primed to be the team in the Big 12 this year. I mean, everybody. And it was only Jake Retzlaff doing the honor code violation that kind of knocked BYU back, and BYU worked its way back. In this case, you've got Bear Bachmeier coming back for the foreseeable future. You're returning quite a bit of this roster. If you go in and make a statement win, you could start the next season ranked in the top 15, possibly even the top 10, which helps tremendously when you get to college football playoff selection time.
Well, you forget that Texas is automatically a top 10 team.
Well,
I would say, I think your top 15 is very stretched. If anything, BYU's like 19th or something. All I'm saying is go out now and beating the crap out of a team in a bowl game. I don't think gains you much more. And 30 years ago, that meant a lot. You go to a bowl
Yeah.
game, you show up the next season, you're in the top 10. That happened all the time. It's not like that anymore. That
I
hasn't
think it's
been
because
like
we
that
got too
for the
many damn
last.
bowl games.
Okay,
Yeah,
but again, all you're doing is undercutting. So you're just making my point. So if that doesn't make a difference, then why do it?
Two things can be true. Bowl games are stupid in the year 2025, and BYU absolutely needs to go and just punch Georgia Tech in the face.
Okay, all right.
But I mean, my plan has always been to just copy and paste the FCS format into the FBS.
Let's play 24. Let's go.
Go to 24, which I think is what the
games,
Big Ten is
playoff
pitching right
games.
now.
That's
And then you
right.
take the best of the bowl games,
Yes.
like the original bowl alliance
Yes.
games, and then
Yes.
like the Alamo Bowl, and put
Yep.
them into like a football NIT
Yes.
with the Pop-Tarts Bowl at the top for
Yep.
Please.
the
Giant
That's what
chicken
you should do
toaster.
with the bowl games. That's exactly right. Put the bowl games into a 2014 playoff. It's the simplest answer.
Y'all are killing me right now. I mean,
Wait, didn't TCU opt out of a bowl game?
we did in the COVID year because our whole team had COVID. So we
Okay,
didn't
and
have
then
anybody to-
Baylor is opted out of a bowl game.
Now
Yeah,
that
but
is
that's
Hey,
Baylor.
that's
That's Baylor.
inexcusable.
Baylor opted
doesn't
out, and
make
people
any
were like, "You
Guys,
weren't
come
invited."
on. Tradition is one thing. I'm a tradition guy, but come on, let's turn the page and get into where we're actually wanting to compete with the SEC. And SEC teams don't want to show up for bowl games. They
I
have
mean,
no
what-
incentive to do it. So why should we do it?
One of
What
the
if they
things.
gave us NIL?
One of the things, I wasn't going to bring up this rant again because I did it yesterday. One of the things that used to always make college football so much better than any other sport, it was about so much more than just who wins the national championship. There's so much more to get excited about. There's so much more to
Really?
have fun with on your Saturdays. Yes.
I
Right?
never did. I never
Because
did.
you have, well, then you've had a bad time since 1984, haven't you? Or whenever. that
No,
was.
I think
Okay.
every year
Yes, they
you're
have.
playing for one thing. If your expectations every year has been, oh, I want to play good enough to get to the Holiday Bowl, you're not in it to win it. Every year since 84 and even before 84, I've wanted BYU to win the national championship.
Well, sure,
that
you
year.
want it, but
No.
there's more to it
You're
than that.
saying you're willing to settle for something else. I'm saying there was no settling. It was that or nothing. And that's, I think, where we're at now. It's all come full circle. We're back to 1984, and the only reason to show up for the games is to win the national championship.
Listen. It's a community experience. It used to be about regional rivalries. It used to be.
It
about
did
getting
used to
together with
be.
all the people you know and kicking someone's ass on Saturday.
did used
going
to
to
be.
a fun location for a bowl game when you were a part of a team. Like I think about these Notre Dame seniors who found out. Oh, guess what? You just played in your last game. You didn't even know it, right? They were assuming they were going to get a nice bowl trip. And
Well, they said they voted.
well, that's ridiculous.
They
Yeah, that's-
reported that they
understand not wanting
voted to
that.
do that.
I
Hang
cannot.
on now.
wrap
Wait,
my
wait.
head around
I don't think you're being fair. You're saying they thought they were going to be playing in the first round of the playoff. They almost thought guaranteed they had a spot, and yet you're saying because they were going to get to that spot and didn't get it, that they wouldn't naturally have an aberration. They would not want to aberration. Sorry, they wouldn't want to have anything to do with a bowl game. I don't think that's
TCU
right,
played in
Clint.
the Peach Bowl in 2014 and kicked Ole Miss.
You're
ass.
saying
You do
you
what
okay,
you're
but
supposed
that's
to do.
you. I could totally see Notre Dame not settling for anything less than a playoff game.
Well,
Notre
that's
Dame's
why
just
everyone hates
corny
them. That's why
bitches.
Notre Dame sucks.
Notre
Oh,
Dame
gosh.
Better than everybody else.
doesn't
you're not-
lose;
you're not-
they win or they quit because it's not fair.
That's
Yep.
That's
okay,
ridiculous.
but that's their choice. We live in
Well,
a choice
but it's a
world.
dumb
You should be
choice, is
forced
what
to
I'm
show
saying.
up. No,
I can't-
come
I
on.
cannot-
Charmin
I cannot
soft.
fathom-
No,
I
I
cannot
just
fathom
Well,
not wanting
No.
to play.
if
one
we
more
should
game.
allow
No.
teams to opt out, then Iowa State should not get penalized $500,000.
I agree.
Out of a
That was
football game.
stupid. I thought that was stupid. I completely agree with you. I don't think that they should have been. The problem is these bowl tie-ins are done by contract. The
Yeah.
first team, the second team, the third team. If it wasn't for those contracts, there wouldn't. That's why the teams that did it later, TCU or whoever, didn't get fined because they weren't contractually committed to going to those games. That's why.
Well,
the other
COVID was a
schools
different
didn't
time
get-
too.
Yeah,
No, I'm
COVID
talking
is
about
a
right
whole
now.
different thing.
I'm talking about right now. If TCU did not out now, I wasn't sure if they did or not. I thought you said they might have. But Baylor opting out, if they got fined, it's only because of the position they were in the rankings. If they had been lower in the rankings, 6 and 6, they're not going to get a fine for opting out. So,
Also,
Well, the only reason Baylor had an opportunity to opt out is because Kansas State and Iowa State opted out because they weren't bowl eligible.
Okay, all well and
Conference
good,
should
but
fit that bill, not my.
you're
athletic
talking about an
department.
obligation to show up for an alternative game that, as far as I know, these players aren't getting a side check to show up, are they?
Well, and that's
I
how
think
you
so.
fix it. You
I mean,
put an
you used to
NIL
I
get
agree with
component
you.
in the
If you
bowl
pay
games.
them, then you give them the option to play. You give them the option to play, but you don't force them.
The bowl games
I
used to give
just-
you like goodie bags, like the Fiesta
Used
Bowl
to
when
be.
Iowa State there.
Yes.
Like all of them got like PS5s.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
The
iPods, stuff
the
like
swag.
that. That's right.
Yeah,
The stuff we all get.
bags.
I don't,
Yeah.
and they might still do that. I'd rather get a $50,000 check for showing up to your stupid bowl game.
I just think it's ridiculous that you have to bribe kids in the first place. these
It's not a
days. I think
bribe.
that-
You're paying
Yes,
them to
they-
play a game
So-
that has no.
What was
Clint,
that
that's not
Colorado
true.
coach years ago,
That
back in
has
like the
nothing
early
to
days
do
of the
with
Big
it.
12, who went on ESPN? He was like, "It's Division I football. It's the Big 12. It ain't intramurals."
Yeah.
That's kind of what this is. Like you're a Division I college football athlete. Bowl games are part of the deal. Go play them.
Yes, you've got an
I
opportunity.
don't- I
to
don't
compete, but
agree.
compete.
I don't
That
agree
is
with
the
that.
reward.
I don't
reward
agree.
is
Well,
you get
that's a
an
reward.
opportunity
You're
to-
making
You're
it sound like
getting-
an obligation. You're making an obligation.
Dan
You
Hawkins.
said get to, man.
That's-
You get to play college
You
football.
get to. You get to.
Yes.
I'm allowing you
Yes.
to show up for your slave event. Yes, please. I'm allowing you.
It's
to
not
show
a
up.
slave event. It's sports. It's an
Pay 'em.
extracurricular
Go pay
activity
'em.
that they make
pay
a
'em.
crap ton of money plus a
Go
free
pay 'em.
education to play in.
I didn't
And
know-
the
I
ones
didn't
who
know it
don't
had
make
college
any of that are just
athletes.
happy to be there and would love to
So
be there for
pay
another
them.
game.
The solution is to pay them. If
Well,
you pay
yeah.
them and they opt out, that's a different thing. But you're talking about
Taking their money
obligating them
away.
without giving them extra money.
This, whatever.
All right, I gotta go anyway, so I get to leave you.
Yeah,
on that
get
high
out of
note.
here, bro.
Hey, Clint, I will tell you, I'm happy to sit down with you. I'll go through it point if you want to have a debate about it. But I'm
this
very
is-
clear-thoughted.
The
I
biggest
have thought about
12
this. I know
pros and
exactly where
cons,
you're at.
point
I'm
counterpoint.
happy to do it with you if you want to talk.
I need a
about it.
PowerPoint presentation. Like I
Clint,
need a
you ignorant
full-blown
slut.
power deck.
I
for
want
this
things
thing,
the way they
so-
were. I want people who want to play
I
football because
know,
they
but
like
those
football.
days are gone, Clint. Those
Well,
days are
bring
gone.
them back. damn it. I don't like football.
What happened to the game I love?
I love you guys.
Fewer
Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah.
I'm going
Players
to do
can
my
actually
show
think
now.
because they're
That-
not concussed every week.
I can't remember his name, but I mean that BYU quarterback who won the 1984 national championship. He was playing with like 2 broken ribs and a broken leg.
He
Detmer,
was,
Ty
he was
Detmer,
all no, it wasn't Detmer. It was Bosco,
Really?
probably.
Bosco, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, I got a jet. We'll see you guys later.
They
Thank you
don't
so
make it
much.
like they used to.
Okay,
Bye,
see
bye,
ya.
Bummer.
Peace.
Bye, Bomber. What a jerk. Okay. Man,
He's not
Listen.
even here to defend himself.
yeah, well, man. Okay, I want to talk about bowl games. I like bowl games. Damn it, Texas Bowl. Okay, Houston's playing.
Yeah, that was
LSU.
one.
Yeah. Houston's
One
playing
down.
LSU. So apparently, the whole reason that Houston got passed over for the Alamo Bowl is because the bowl games were concerned that they wouldn't bring any fans. Enter your Bombers of the world, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so now here they are. They're in Houston. They're playing in the Texas Bowls against LSU. I do think that this is a game they can win, specifically because LSU is coachless at the moment. And I do think that this is likely a situation where Houston is more excited to be playing in this game than LSU. What is y'all take?
I think Houston needs more basketball losses so that way they get on the football hype train.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if they could lose to Iowa State, that would be even better because we are a basketball school.
40 chess, right? We're trying to think about things in a broader context. Okay. The Alamo Bowl. I am super hyped that TCU is in the Alamo Bowl. I was hoping
Yeah.
to be getting the Pop-Tart Bowl. This is even better. I might make it down to this game. I'm really looking into it. USC, there's a lot of historic juiciness to this game because the USC Sun Bowl in 1998, the first game I ever remember caring about. Yes, I love bowl games. Okay. That's what kickstarted TCU's whole revival and renaissance in the 2000s is beating USC in that Sun Bowl. And here we have USC again 10 years later after the iconic 31-point comeback against Oregon. Watch my documentary.
That I was going to say the same year that you made a documentary about it.
Yes, exactly. The same year
I
I made
was,
a documentary.
I was
about it.
genuinely
Yeah,
going to ask you, are we getting a part 2 now?
Yeah.
Well,
Remember
maybe.
the Alamo Bowl again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we played at Stanford too in 2017, and that was also a comeback, just not quite as impressive of a comeback. But okay, so this TCU is a 6-point dog against USC. I don't know though. Like the vibes are really good, and TCU is in the market for a new offensive coordinator. Mando Frog. I've not forgotten about this. The Kendall Briles era is, dare I say, mercifully over in Fort Worth. I'm not going to say anything else about it. But we are in the market for a new offensive coordinator. A lot of different interesting options being thrown around out there. I've heard Jake Spavital get thrown out there. The Penn State offensive coordinator, what's his name? Andy something or other. Andy K something. A lot of different options. You're asking me, Mando Frog, who I want? I don't know. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't know who I want. I do think that if you can get that Penn State guy, that's somebody that you definitely got to look at. But I feel like if it ends up being a Spavital, I'd be happy with that enough. It's somebody who's going to put an emphasis on running the ball effectively and being nasty and physical on the offensive line. That's really all I'm looking for. To be completely honest with you, can we beat USC? I think we can. I do think we can. What's y'all's take?
I think it's going to be close.
Yeah, I do think it'll be a competitive game. One of the better games.
Who's actually calling the offensive plays now, though?
Well, we don't know. Sonny Dykes has insinuated that he might call the offensive plays.
Oh boy,
that would actually be best case scenario for TCU,
honestly,
in my opinion.
Probably. I feel like there's a slight chance Malcolm Kelly could call plays. I would assume that there's probably Malcolm Kelly is interested in being considered for offensive coordinator, but I don't think that would be necessarily wise. Not because I don't want Malcolm Kelly on staff. He's an excellent recruiter and he's a great receivers coach, but it's just he's unproven. He's never called plays before, to my knowledge. So, yeah, Sonny Dykes calling plays is probably the best case scenario for this bowl game. And it's going to be really interesting to see where we go for offensive play caller in the future. Mando Frog wants Malcolm Kelly. There you go. But, yeah, I do think it'll be a really competitive game, and I think it's going to be a fun game. That's why I want to try and make the drive down there to Graham Harrell. Yes. Throwing that out there too. I wouldn't mind Graham Harrell one bit. That's definitely going to keep you in that air raid vibe. Yeah. Okay. So he might be seeing ghosts from 2006 whenever he steps on the field the first time, but you know. Okay. So moving on to the Sun Bowl. Arizona State taking on Duke. This game worries me a little bit, y'all. Am I alone in this?
I mean, Duke kind of like drunkenly stumbled their way into an ACC championship. So, I mean, why not?
Yeah. It worries me in that the Sun Devils have lost. They've officially lost Sam Levitt at this point.
Yeah.
They've lost at least one key offensive lineman off of this team. I wouldn't assume that Jordan Tyson is going to play. He probably will opt out. I just think you got a weak Arizona State going into this game against a Duke that is on a little bit of a hot streak. That does worry me. Brownie, who do you think wins the Sun Bowl?
I'm still rooting for Arizona State because I don't like Duke.
Of course.
But they definitely have a shitty hand of cards.
Yeah, if you want to talk about things that you hate about the current state of college athletics, it's Sam Levitt hitting the transfer portal for his senior year out of Arizona State. I mean, that was just disgusting.
Yeah.
But Arizona State was actually semi-decent when he was injured. I mean, I thought they were done, and they kind of stumbled their way into, what was it, 8-4? Yeah, 8-4.
Well, until they ran into Arizona.
Until they ran, yeah. But I mean, Duke is they're on a roll right now, but they're still Duke. And so if Arizona State has even a little bit of the roster that they had in like the last 5 games of the season, I think they're okay. Otherwise, I think Duke's just going to roll over them.
Yeah. Well, looking ahead to New Year's Eve and the Las Vegas Bowl, I don't think there's any question that Utah is going to eviscerate Nebraska.
Nebraska is buns, actual buns.
Yeah, my big and it'll be so sweet seeing Dylan Raiola, cry. But
he's not playing. He's out.
Is he not playing?
Is he really?
Dad's out. His brother decommitted. Raiola's just done.
Wow. Well, the big thing I'm watching with this Vegas Bowl is after all the hemming and hawing online from Utah fans talking about like every conference event in the world should be held in Vegas because it's so easy to go to and yada, yada, yada. If Utah does not fill up that stadium, then they deserve all of the derision in the world.
Well, I definitely know
Yeah.
Nebraska's not going to fill it up. They can't
Yeah.
even fill up Memorial Stadium. So
Yeah.
they barely filled up Arrowhead Stadium.
Yeah. Talk about it different from the way things used to be, man. The
I
fall
know.
of Nebraska football.
Ah,
I'm going to hold.
I hate to see it.
Yeah, sure. Couldn't happen to nicer folks. Okay. I'm going to hold Texas Tech till the end. So we'll look ahead to January 2nd, Liberty Bowl. Cincinnati playing Navy.
How
in
is
the Liberty
Memphis
Bowl?
not in this game?
I know. Memphis is in. I think the Gasparilla Bowl. I think Memphis is in.
They
But
should have gone to the Liberty Bowl. I'm just saying.
it's like speaking of contractual obligations, right? They have to play a home bowl game every year.
Yeah.
I think that Navy is a little bit of a tough draw for Cincinnati, just because, I mean, anytime you're playing a service academy, it's an ass beating, if we're being completely honest, and especially one that runs, triple option effectively. I do think
Well, you're never
Cincinnati
going to be more conditioned than they are.
True.
Like
Yeah.
they're always going to be.
It's
They're
impossible.
never going to run out of gas.
No.
Yeah, I mean, literally. So here's another thing, Chris. Back when I was at TCU as an equipment manager, and Coach P was the coach, we were in the same conference with Air Force. Literally once every single week, we had an Air Force period. Didn't matter if we were playing Air Force or not, but it's like you have to be ready to play against a triple option team. So like, know your assignments, know your gaps, and run like hell. It sucks to have to play teams like that. The thing that worries me about this game, because I do think Cincinnati is the better team, but they've been on such a cold streak. I mean, I don't think they won a single game in the month of November. So can they get up and, rally the troops to win this Liberty Bowl? I don't know. I hope they do.
Same.
If they're not decimated
see
by
it.
the portal, then I think
Yeah.
they'll be okay. But I mean, if they're losing even a small portion of their roster, then they're not going to beat Navy.
Yeah. And this game I'm very interested in, the Holiday Bowl. SMU going back to the Holiday Bowl for the first time since the 80s and playing Arizona, who is extremely fiery hot after their end of the season. Brownie, I've been shocked, by the way, after our game that we played, how many of our Pac-12 schools have ended up in those traditional Pac-12 bowls, like the Vegas Bowl, like the Holiday Bowl, like the Sun Bowl. I think Arizona should and will roll SMU in this game. Yeah, that's pretty much my take.
Yeah, I think Arizona's starting to become the Arizona that we kind of thought they would be going into the year before last. They're starting to put the pieces together as of the end of this last season. And again, I mean, the bowl game is such a toss up. I mean, that's why we got into such a heated debate earlier. But I mean, if their roster is what it is as we sit today, then Arizona probably wins this game. Otherwise, who the heck knows?
Yeah. So let's talk about those Red Raiders, Chris. The whole reason you're on the show, man.
Texas Tech and James Madison.
Yeah. Hey, I would love it if James Madison won just to shut up the Big Ten. I'm a TCU fan. I'm always going to root for the little guy if the opportunity presents itself. I would love to see James Madison beat Oregon. I do think it's frustrating, just from a third person perspective, that Texas Tech, who I think realistically would have a claim for number 3, I think Ohio State should be that number 4. Frankly,
Yeah.
You lose a conference championship game, you should be penalized in some way for it. Don't tell Alabama that, right? Georgia should be 2, Tech should be 3. And because Tech is 4, I think that Oregon is the toughest draw of those second round teams that you could get. However, I think that Tech is really well positioned to beat this Oregon team. People who are not in the Big 12 just literally have no concept of the fact that Tech has not only a good defense, but a great defense.
Oh, yeah.
Sell us on it, Chris.
If you if you had a defense, like if TCU had a defense with Romello Height, like that would be a really good defense. Or if you had a defense with David Bailey, that's a good defense. Same with, any one of these pieces on a defense is going to make it a good defense. And Texas Tech somehow, Jacob Rodriguez. And you have all these pieces together in one group. This isn't like a really good Big 12 defense or a really good Texas Tech defense. This is like that Clint, but the Georgia team from 2023. This is like their defense. And so I've heard a lot of Oregon fans specifically talking about how they've got the easiest draw. They've got 2 bye weeks, and they think they're just going to roll over Texas Tech. Texas Tech has never faced an offense like Oregon, which is a very run-heavy offense. And what I'll tell you is, if you think you're going to beat Texas Tech by running the ball, you're wrong. You just aren't. You're not going to blow out. Yeah, exactly. You're not going to blow out Texas Tech. If you win, it's going to be like a 16-14 type of deal. But you're not going to just go through and push this defense around. And so the question really is can Texas Tech's offense break through Oregon's defense? And I haven't watched enough Oregon football this year to really answer that. But I know the Oregon defense is not near as good as the Texas Tech defense right now. And so, if Texas Tech does what they did to BYU, then, that's I think it's a bad matchup for Oregon is what I'm trying to say. Oregon might be the more talented team on paper, but I just think the matchup is not good for the Ducks and great for Texas Tech.
I agree with you. Brownie, what's your take?
I think it's going to be definitely interesting because Oregon obviously is one of those teams that has always been a thorn in everybody's side. I think they always bring something unique to the table. But realistically, I think the only thing that anybody really gives a shit about in this specific matchup, if it is Oregon versus Texas Tech, is what jerseys are Oregon going to wear?
Yeah.
That's all I care about because they're going to lose in whatever they pick. So might as well make it super cool and flashy. Are they going to go with the chrome helmets with the all whites, because they're going to be surrendering at halftime. I'm interested. I am invested in this game.
Yeah.
Just for the jerseys.
That was one of the coolest things about having Oregon come to Lubbock a couple of years ago. It's there they are. And they've got the crazy uniform.
Yeah. I think that Oregon definitely did it right, especially when it comes to that marketing, but also they have Nike in their freaking corner. So of course they have 5 billion jerseys. Yeah. So I just don't think that this is going to be remotely close. I think Texas Tech is going to roll them. It's going to go into the next round with Tech, and then it's really then going to be how good are they actually in the next round.
Because then it'll be most likely Indiana, right?
Midiana.
Yeah. I don't know. I think Tech has a really, really nice path. I think I think you very realistically could see a Georgia Texas Tech national championship, and God help you if you lose 65-7, you'll never hear the end of it, Chris. But how deep do you think Tech can take this thing realistically, Chris?
Realistically, and I was accused of being a homer the last time I was on the show, so get ready. But realistically, I think this Texas Tech team is good enough to beat any team in the playoff field right now. Mm-hmm. Will they? I have no idea. But I think as they sit, as long as Behren Morton stays reasonably healthy, and I'm told too that not for the next game, but if Tech beats Oregon or James Madison, then Skylar Gill-Howard will be there for what I would assume would be the Indiana game next. And I just don't think. I think this team reminds me a lot of what the 2019 basketball team was, in that the defense is just better than everyone's offense. There's not an offense that can break the defense, and you have an offense that's good enough to do what it needs to do. And that recipe took you all the way to the national championship game and a Ted Cruz selfie away from winning the whole thing. And God, if that guy shows up to a national championship game.
I learned,
he is.
I learned last year that he was at R22 national championship. And I was like,
well, of course.
Son of a, are you kidding me? Of course.
Hear me out, though. If Ted Cruz has a selfie and then Drake also takes a picture with your team's gear, does the double negative cancel each other out?
I think I think that's our only hope, really, in that scenario.
Well, then
we got to get Drake.
Sure that Drake is down there.
We'll start a GoFundMe. Get Drake to the game.
Yeah.
To take a picture with Ted Cruz.
Fan, question mark.
But I think Georgia is the team that maybe concerns me the most, just because I think Georgia's defense can go toe-to-toe with Tech's defense. And again, the question becomes which offense can break the other defense enough. But truly, with the defense that Texas Tech has, and if Behren Morton stays healthy, there's not a team in this field that Texas Tech cannot beat.
Yeah. I think you're right about that. I think you are. And we've gone a little more than an hour. y'all have had so much Biggest 12 this week. Look at you lucky people. Merry freaking Christmas. Okay. Yeah, I'm excited about bowl season. I'm excited about the playoff. I'm excited about all of it because I love college football in its purest form, and all the money stuff makes me want to have diarrhea, frankly. So there you go. Gentlemen, tell the people where they can find you.
Go ahead, Chris.
Well, Flatland Sports, you can find me Flatland_sports on Twitter. Just search Flatland Sports on YouTube, TikTok, and everywhere else you get your social media from. And the Flatland Sports Podcast, new episodes every Wednesday. That's all I got.
There you go. Brownie.
You know the drill already. At WRNL Brownie on X Blue Sky. Follow the main channel if you want. Join our Discord. It has been a whirlwind of events for the past week for Iowa State fans, including some super cool, fun, awesome basketball games that we also got snubbed. So, snubbing all around.
Snubbalicious. Okay. Follow me on Twitter at @_Foster55. Please subscribe to the show at Big 12 BOCFB. We're so close to 1,000. Help us get there. There's literally no better time to subscribe to Foster Creations and check out Remember the Alamo Bowl, award-winning documentary by yours truly. Put a lot of effort into it. I just want you to see it. Hope you love it. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts. And follow the Voice of College Football at VOCFB everywhere you get your social media fix. And also, it just occurred to me that I forgot to run our main ad. So, you've seen the Voice of College. You've seen
That's both times I've been on the show now.
Yes, Voice of College Football Bet. Check out Voice of College Football Bets. Okay. And, hey, happy bowl season. Merry Christmas. We'll see you next week. Until then, I hope your team wins. I love you. And go Big 12. See you around, folks.